This video's objective is to emphasize your risk, help you avoid and overcome possible life-changing disasters with onboard situational awareness, what to do first, as well as 5 man-overboard boat maneuvers, along with extraction techniques and key cold water survival methods with minute-by-minute physiological effects and thermal recovery. Stick around. The information at the end could save your life. Hey, welcome back to Small Sailboat Big Water. You may be taking a break from sailing right now, but if cabin fever drives you back out there, here's how to make sure that you come back. Whether you're a northern sailor or a southern sailor just trying to extend their season, grasping the significance of water temperature when someone takes a plunge is vital for survival. So let's get right into all the elements of how you wound up in the water, what to do when you're in the water, how to get you out of the water, and recovery. In the year 2019, the police chief from my home port of Kemah, Texas was out one day on his boat casting his line near the Texas City Dike, not far from the 52-mile-long, 40-foot deep, 350-foot wide Houston Ship Channel, which connects the Port of Houston to the Gulf of Mexico, cutting straight through Galveston Bay. As fate would have it, a colossal 1,000-foot-long cargo ship was plowing through the channel, sending forth a massive wake that threw Chris from his fishing boat, and the next wave swept him into the depths. His body wasn't recovered for 2 days. I've had one wild experience with these cargo ship waves in Galveston Bay. My brother and I were moving my 30-foot boat from Clear Lake down to Offutt Spies. We were heading out to the channel. The bay was calm when out of nowhere, a wave at least 10 foot high. This was not your average Galveston tanker wave. Came right at us. I remember the face of the wave being the same length of our boat, which was overall 42 foot long. The heavy Tahiti catch smashed right through it. It's easy to see how someone could be thrown from a small boat in waves like this. And when you add the element of cold, it's a brand new rodeo. So let's hit it. On a sailboat, neglect in one operation can unintentionally spread, negatively affecting another. This spillover is often the factor in man-overboard scenarios. Most overboard sailors find their way into the water either from the foredeck by losing their balance, overreaching.
Meester, wat is er nou zo bijzonder aan zeilkampen?
Als je de mooiste
tripping over lines or slipping on a wet deck or a sudden heel. Sail handling improperly or colliding with another crew member, an unexpected wave causing pitch and roll, or just distracted sunbathing, sleeping on deck, or drunk. Moving aft into the real danger zone, amidships. Now, you couldn't design a better device to rid the deck of crew than a boom. Sweeping from rail to rail, this aluminum bat is set at the perfect height to either brain you or disembark you. So be very aware of its path and learn to feel the wind on your face to know when the boat is changing tacks. And end boom furling adds weight and it only intensifies the danger. You could save a life with one piece of line and a block. You can rig yourself up a simple single line preventer and use it especially for extended sailing downwind or on a broad reach, especially in heavy seas. If you've never experienced an accidental jibe, it's probably the closest thing you'll come to a near-death experience on your boat, and your boat probably feels the same way. It's the equivalent of giving your sailboat a sucker punch. Running downwind with your sails wing to wing takes the most attention from the helmsman, and if they get distracted, an accidental jibe can happen. The best thing to do is make sure everybody's okay on board and then announce that you meant to do that, and that the crew should never speak of the incident again. Recommended to preserve the chain of command. Continuing to travel aft, we get to the cockpit. Generally, this is the safest place on the boat until it's time to go.
No more complaining, no more Mr. Kimball have to go to the bathroom, nothing. There is no bathroom!
There's numerous stories of guys and maybe some adventurous girls who have fallen off the back of a sailboat using the restroom. So, to avoid going bubbles up, for a guy, you can brace your legs against the stern rail and then hold on to the backstay. If you're a girl, I don't know what you do if you're a girl. I guess hopefully there's an enclosed head down below with a nice porcelain unit that's been designed and installed pretty much just for you. As captain of the boat, it's your job to explain all the rules to your crew, and I'm sure if you do this, you'll have no problem. Oscar, Oscar, Oscar. Oh boy, not again, but it appears our crew member Jack Dawson was performing his best King of the World pose.
I'm the king of the world!
On the bow of your boat, he slipped and he fell off to starboard. What do? Bring attention to all hands and announce man overboard. Then hit that M.O.B button or the mark button on your GPS. Next, announce the location of the waterborne individual. Use the clock face position, which is the relative direction of an object using the analogy of a 12-hour clock. Then someone can also call out the distance to the crew overboard, either in feet when up close or in boat lengths when further away. First thing you want to do is throw some flotation to him, a life ring or a seat cushion. I would also throw an additional life jacket. Hopefully he's already got one on. Next, I would throw a throwable line. Well, Jack wasn't able to get to the line. Pole speed right now is 6 knots, which means we're leaving Jack behind at a rate of 10 feet per second. So anything you're gonna throw it now.
If you have any poo, fling it now.
Deploy the man overboard pole. This is a Dan buoy that's used to mark his location, and it comes with a flag on top, and attached to it is a whistle, a horse collar buoy, a strobe light, and a drogue anchor. And don't forget to throw out some smoke or maybe some dye in the water.
You never leave a man behind! I didn't leave him behind!
Your life jackets, your throwable seat cushion, throwable ring, line, your man overboard pole, whistle, your smoke, your dye, your flares. All these items need to be stowed in priority and at the ready. If at all possible, designate someone as a spotter. An unblinking eye in rough conditions may not be enough. Tell them to point at the victim with their finger. This goes a long way in helping the spotter keep an eye on their target, and it's a great reference for the captain and the rest of the crew to know exactly where the overboard individual is. If you have a bunch of extra life jackets on board, it might not hurt to throw over 2 or 3 extras as you're going away from the victim making your turnaround. Especially in darkness, it could come in handy making a path leading you back to them. Alright, now, as captain, it's time to decide on which man overboard maneuver we're going to use to get back to our guy. With so many options to choose from, it's important to get a grip on which one will serve you best. Considering your boat's geographic position, capabilities, and the current speed, as well as the wind direction, sea conditions, and especially the visibility of the crew overboard. Most common man overboard courses to follow are the Anderson turn, the Williamson turn, the Charnow turn, the figure 8, and the heave-to method. First, we have the Anderson turn. Here we are heading out under power oar sail while leaning over to raise a fender. Our crew member somersaults into the water. Immediately turn towards them, swinging the stern and propeller away. Tack through the wind and then complete a full 360-degree circle and jibe the main. and then ease the sheets, slow down, and pick them up, with the option to do a 270-degree turn and cross our own wake. Next, we have the Williamson turn. This maneuver was designed to find a missing crew member that went overboard at an unknown time, so we need to retrace our exact path. Turn your boat towards the man overboard until you achieve 60 degrees off your original course, and then hard back over the other way until you ease back on to your original path, going the opposite direction. Grab them up and you're gone. The Charnow turn is basically the complete opposite of the Williamson turn. With this one, you continue straight for about 5 or 6 boat lengths, and then you hard over all the way until you can ease back onto your reciprocal course. Here's my favorite, the figure 8. This is where you're just sailing along, someone slips and cannonballs into the water. No problem, just go 4 or 5 boat lengths and head up to the wind and tack all the way through the wind, and then run top speed downwind into a broad reach, and then head up to the wind and let your sheets fly so you can kill all your boat speed and give them a lift. Now lastly, let's talk about the heave-to method. This is where you're cruising along on a beam reach and your buddy does the nesty plunge off the back. All you do is head up and keep your head sail backed, ease your main a bit, and lash your tiller leeward. This will cause your boat to heave to and you can just drift back towards the man overboard. You just grab them up, bring your head sail across, tighten up the main, and you're back sailing. Alright, now we've got a grip on different man overboard maneuvers that we can use for different situations. We've made it back to our guy in the water. How are we going to get him out? If things have gone well and we've gotten back to our guy in less than a minute, he might be stunned but still able to climb himself into the boat with the stern ladder. But in frigid water, he might be experiencing some hypothermic shock, gasping and fighting to control his breathing. Or he may have been in the water too long and he's experiencing some cold water incapacitation where his muscle fibers just don't want to work, or mild or severe hypothermia has set in and he's unconscious. As your boat approaches the man in the water, have your plan ready and muster your crew quickly to get him out of the water, but you gotta be real gentle. In cold water, there's vascular constriction and cardiovascular stress, so if we can keep our victim horizontal while we raise him out of the water, that could alleviate some blood pressure issues. If the guy can't use the stern ladder or a web ladder that you threw over to him, you might have to disconnect a halyard and lower that down to a harness that he's wearing or a life sling, and maybe send another guy on the other halyard down in the water to assist him, and then raise them both up using the winches. Check out this method. It's where you take a storm drogue, that's the smaller one, you connect to the stern and tow submerge to slow your runaway train, or a sea anchor, which is the larger para anchor, which is deployed from the bow and will slow if not nearly stop a vessel while keeping the bow to the waves. So connect a line from one of these and send that line through a block at the end of the boom, and then you run the line out to the man you're trying to recover. You deploy the sea drogue or sea anchor and then move the boat forward, and the water pressure will pull the drogue backwards as it pulls the man overboard towards the boat and up and on board. There's a lot of man overboard recovery gear out there that you can buy, but if you don't have it, you can always use a jib. You can quickly unhank it from the forestay while leaving the halyard connected to the head, and then connect the tack and the clew to a fore and aft stanchion base, and then you can dip the sail down into the water, fetch him out while still keeping him horizontal. The rope elevator method is where you simply tie off one end of the line to a mooring cleat or a stanchion base and then dip the line down into the water to give the person something to stand or sit on, and then run the line through a block and onto a winch to bring them up and closer to deck level. Alright, now we got our buddy back on board. Let's try to get a better understanding of what he's gone through so we can get a better grasp on what we need to do to help him. For the best understanding, let's do this moment by moment. Hopefully you've got a life jacket on because trying to put one on in cold water can be difficult. In water below 59 degrees Fahrenheit, you're a near guaranteed statistic without a PFD. Splash! You hit that cold 55-degree water. This is not good. Your chance of death is up 500% over if you had fallen into water 70 degrees or warmer. Hopefully you've done your best to enter the water feet first and keep your head out of the water. Do your best to hold your nose and cover your mouth as you enter the water. You're about to experience hypothermic shock. That first gasp is what kills a lot of people. 20% of people die in the first 2 minutes, either by gasping in a lung full of water or instant cardiac arrest due to underlying heart disease. The first minute's going to be tough on you, but remember, it's all mental. Just focus on your breathing. Get it under control. Don't hyperventilate and keep your head out of the water. This hypothermic shock normally lasts about a minute but can go up to 3 minutes. Your time is short. You need to have a plan to get up and out of the water. You probably have about 10 minutes of meaningful movement, so you got to act fast. Now or never. You can feel yourself getting weaker and weaker. Know that it's about 5 or 15 minutes until cold water incapacitation sets in. And that's where your nerves and your muscle fibers won't work. Your body is now trying to save itself. You see, from the instant you hit the water, your skin sent a cold message to the hypothalamus part of your brain, which told your pituitary gland to command your adrenal gland to release the adrenocorticotropic hormone. So now you're running on pure adrenaline, which you'll need because this is survival time. In 30 minutes to an hour, you're going to have mild hypothermia and then severe hypothermia, and you'll be unconscious. No more shivering, no movement at all, but possibly not dead. Water conducts heat away from the body 25% faster than air, but still, the body dies slowly in cold water. So, you're hopeless. Self-rescue is not a possibility. What can you do? If you're in a group of 2 or more, you can huddle up and wrap your limbs around each other. It's all about preserving any remaining heat. And if you're alone, get into the heat escape lessening position, where you bring your knees up to your chest, wait for a boat to come along, and say your prayers. Lucky for you, all those man overboard drills worked and your crew used the Charnow turn and you see lights and they're heading back your way. Before you know it, your crew's got you back on board. You've got the wet clothes off and they got you wrapped in a blanket and also wrapped with a vapor barrier to eliminate the loss of heat through evaporation. You've been wrapped up like a cocoon and they even put some hand warmers on your chest and under your arms, along with some warm water to slowly warm you up. It was such an invigorating plunge and there's nothing like a near-death experience to make you feel alive again. Well, it's been a lot of fun. We started with spillover and the factors that lead up to a man overboard scenario and what immediate action to take. Then the 5 maneuver options to get the boat back to the fallen. And then the extraction protocols to complete the rescue. I know for me, having a deeper understanding of the effects of cold water on the body emphasizes the need to wear a PFD and to do the M.O.B drills. I'd appreciate it if you would lend me a hand and tap the like button for this video, and also subscribe if you haven't already, but most importantly, please share this video. That's 3 taps. 3 taps away from possibly saving a life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.